And we are live. Tuesday night, Christmas week, all in on high school sports. Kurt Valenti, Jennifer Valenti, how are you?
I'm well. Good evening, everyone.
Hope everybody's getting ready for Christmas this year. Little weird Christmas year, but again, it's Christmas. And have you been naughty or nice?
I've been a little of both.
You've been a little of both, okay. I've been
Hopefully more nice than naughty.
I've been very nice, and I hope there's a couple gifts laying around this house somewhere. But otherwise, tell us what we got in store tonight for a little high school sports.
You've been naughty too. I'm just gonna throw that
Yeah, yeah. By the way, I hope everyone who's been following us and watching our show likes our nice little Christmas display on our screen tonight.
Yep, we got some stuff going on in the festivities, joining the festivities, getting the holiday spirit.
So what we got going on tonight?
Tonight we have two very special guests. We are going to be joined by Coach Joe Romeo, who is the Lodi High School girls basketball coach, and we will also be joined by CrossFit trainer Amy Ottavinia. Just a little sidebar as well, as we always like to mention, if there's a high school athlete that you would like to see highlighted on our show, we would love to get them the notoriety that they deserve. So please reach out to us on many of our social media platforms, which are listed on the screen and running through the scroll bar. And I-95 Sports is can and will stream live high school games. So if that's something that anyone is interested in, again, we can put you in touch with.
Especially since with
indoor sports
with an audience, if there's going to be crowds.
Right.
If not, so it would be something great. If anyone's looking to
Right.
do anything like that, please reach out and we'll get in touch with the I-95 guys.
Might be a little more pertinent this season than it was in
Yes.
the fall.
By the way, we are broadcast live tonight on the I-95 Sports Network, on Facebook, on YouTube, and Periscope/Twitter. Coach Breslin saying happy holidays, Merry Christmas to both of you.
Same to you, Coach.
Merry
Thank
Christmas
you.
to you too, Coach Breslin. Spectacular guest a couple weeks
Yes,
ago, but I think we're gonna have
absolutely.
two great guests tonight.
We certainly are.
We're gonna have two great guests tonight. So
We have Coach Romeo
let's bring him
ready
in.
to go.
Let's
so
bring Coach Romeo
allow
in.
me to bring him in.
Absolutely.
We'll give him a second to join us and get situated.
By the way, happy. I know this is something for you. Happy NBA opening night.
Yes.
Well, it's
very
not opening night for me. Tomorrow night's opening night for
right.
me.
The start of the season is upon us, though.
Okay,
NBA
absolutely.
season.
And again, we want to thank Coach Breslin for always joining in on our show and being a guest. And
I'm not sure why Coach. I see him as a. Oh, there we go. Might just be lagging a little bit. Hi,
Okay.
Coach.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
there he is, Coach Romeo. How are you, my friend?
Good, sir. How are you?
All right. Want to
Hi,
give a little
Coach.
introduction?
Yes, let
of him?
me introduce you to our audience. Welcome, Coach Joe Romeo, coach of the Lodi High School girls basketball team since the 2015-2016 season. So 2021 will mark his sixth season as head coach, with 2 years of assistant coaching at Lodi prior to that. They compete in the NJIC Colonial Division, if I'm not mistaken, and Coach Romeo himself was a 3-sport athlete at Lodi High School. So welcome to the show, Coach. It's very nice to have you.
Thank you for having me, guys.
You're getting your first hello tonight, Coach, from an Elizabeth. I don't want to say the name wrong. It's an Elizabeth T saying, "Oh my God, yes, Romeo." So
That's actually one of our new players for this year. She's coming up for the first time.
awesome.
I love it. That's awesome.
And that's why, hey, right on social media, you gotta love it. Absolutely gotta love it. But I gotta go off script right out of the gate with. I do this all the time, Joe. But I just want to give a little background of how I know Coach Romeo.
Of course.
Okay, way back when. All right, coaching Little League, Garfield Little League, Giordano's. My brother Ryan, one of my good friends, Anthony Freitas. We're on a team, Giordano's, we're coaching, and we had to draft players. So I just remember seeing this little lefty, 9 years old, and I remember saying, and I'm going to take credit for this, saying, I want this kid. I want to draft him. But we drafted low because we were pretty good. So 5 teams, and I was like, we're not going to get him. Somebody's going to take him. And he didn't get drafted. He didn't get drafted. And the first thing was like, bang, I'm getting it in. But as a 9-year-old, I just want to say something about him, Jen, and I'm going to be honest. Right away, he played as a 9-year-old. He played first. He pitched, but we made him an outfielder because a lot of times Little League, outfielders can't catch a fly ball. I mean, 12-year-old. This kid as a 9-year-old, we put him out there, caught everything. And one thing about him, and I'm going to be honest, it's probably why he's become a great coach is, and I don't know if you remember this, Joe, but like every day after practice, he would be like, now practice is done. Hit me more fly balls. Hit me more fly balls.
Nice.
Hit him higher. Hit him harder. You know, it was like, I'm telling you. And the kid was a tremendous player. We'll get into his career, but I remember that like it was yesterday. It was a pleasure coaching you. So we go back a long time, Joe.
Yes, sir. Those were the good days. I even remember the days went back at rec basketball
And
with
rec
the Lakers.
basketball too. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Great times. But
Wait, did Coach Romeo, did you play on the Toros or no?
no, he wasn't on the Toros.
I've seen some films. Believe it or not.
I show her some films, Joe. They're not good. They're not good. Way back when, they're not good. I don't know how long I would be able to last today. I began thrown out. But all right, here's the thing. So, Coach, going back into like in the past, you were the quarterback on a state championship winning team at Lodi. So obviously you have that Lodi tradition. How do you transfer that tradition from when you played, you won a state title, into your girls basketball program?
Well, the one good thing about us, the team that we had, now originally obviously I was from Garfield growing up, and I transferred to Lodi sophomore year in high school. So besides myself and one other player, Jose Marty, every other kid on that team grew up and went through their junior program together. So they've played for, I want to say 6, 7, 8 years together and have built that program and that team to what it was for that many years. So to be an addition, myself and Jose Marty, to be an addition to that, only helped it even more than how good they really were. So what we did as a team and what we did each and every day was come out and work our butts off at practice, showed up early, left late, made sure we got extra reps in. But when we were out on that field, we made sure we left everything we had, whether it was a practice, a walkthrough, it could have been preseason workout, it could have been a captain's practice, no matter what it was. We took that as if it was a game. We took every ounce of energy we had and made sure we poured it into that practice. The reason why is because we knew that in order for us to succeed that year, we knew we had to work harder than we did the previous year. And that was one of our biggest goals, because we ended up getting smacked pretty good in the playoffs first round against West Essex the year before as the number 8 seed. And we knew that left a really bad taste in our mouth. And we knew that we wanted to get past that point and not have that feeling again. So having virtually the entire team returning from the previous year, and I believe we had about 17 seniors on the team, being a senior heavy team with the experience that we had, and obviously experience is something that every coach looks for. We knew that we had a very good shot at getting back to where we were, if not being in a better spot than before. And we knew that we had to push each other. We had to work our tails off, and we were able to do that. And that's one of the big reasons why we were as good as we were, was because we pushed each other past our limits. We never got comfortable. We never we never really took it easy in practice, and it was always a competition. And the best thing is we had so much depth that the competition level was very high in practice. So it pushed us past what we really needed to be. And having the experience, having the passion that we did, and being able to work hard and put everything we had into practice was one of the really big reasons why we were able to do what we did.
And now, so obviously you lived through that. So now, do you go back a little bit of that and like now into your coaching? And again, you did this at Lodi, you're coaching at Lodi. So going into your basketball program now, do you take a little bit about like a little of that, of what you experienced, and kind of push that into your girls basketball program?
Well, one thing we know, and I know you know this too, Coach, because you've done it before too at all levels. We know that two teams are never alike, but we know what it takes to get to that point. So being able to take the experiences that I had, knowing what we had to do, and being able to translate over and onto the basketball court and feed the girls with certain things that they need in order to succeed. Absolutely. Whenever you have a winning team, there's no reason why you shouldn't share the experiences or the things that you went through with your current teams and even former teams and other teams that you may come across. There's no reason why you shouldn't share those things, because if it was a winning formula then it could be part of the winning formula currently.
Absolutely.
Coach, under normal circumstances, right, you guys would have like a game or two under your belt. You'd probably be preparing, right, for your holiday tournament. But this season obviously looks a little bit different. Some of our audience members might not be aware of some of the changes in the dates and how it's affecting the season. Would you maybe elaborate on that a little bit for us?
Sure. Originally, the season got pushed to December 3rd, and December 3rd would have been our start date. But because of the rise in cases and everything after the Thanksgiving break, or what they were anticipating to be after the Thanksgiving break, they then decided to push it until after the new year. So, like you said, where we would have had 2 games under our belt and hosting our holiday tournament, which we had some new teams this year, so we were going to have some new faces, and things would have been a little different for us anyway. Unfortunately, now we have to start January 11th is day 1 of practices. We are allowed to start virtual workouts now. That actually just passed this last week. December 14th started virtual workouts. We're allowed in-person contact with them January 11th, first day. And our first game is going to be January 27th, I believe. 27th is the first game.
Okay.
Nice. Now, I'm going to go off script for a moment here.
Coach, we go off script all the time. So, we work on an agenda and it's done in about 2 minutes. So.
I'm just curious about, the virtual workouts. I know that, that happened to coaches obviously in the fall, getting ready for, in the summer workouts, getting ready for their fall. Again, the challenges of each different season, here you are, it's the cold weather. We just had a snowstorm, I'm just curious, are you working on conditioning in those virtual workouts? You're doing ball drills? Like, what's your goal, or what's your game plan with those?
Well, the good thing is I do coach football in the fall at Indian Hills High School. So I did have some experience with virtual workouts and what we did during those times. But virtual workouts for football are a little different than what we would do for basketball. And the reason why is, going into a basketball season, the biggest hurdle that you have to get over in the beginning of the season is getting the girls up to a conditioning level, not necessarily where we should be in game 1, but where we want to be maybe a week or 2 into the season. And we know how quickly that first game pops up. So conditioning is vital to the success of the program. So what our plans are, and we're going to be starting virtual workouts on January 4th. We're going to give the girls the holiday and everything, and when we get back, that first day will be January 4th for us. We'll do about 7 days of conditioning, and it'll be as much conditioning that I can do with them on a Zoom workout where they can work and see me, and there's not much we can do as far as doing suicides and stuff like that. But we'll do stuff that are more that they can do within their basement. A lot of plyometric stuff, a lot of fast pace, keep the blood flowing, tempo moving, and everything like that. Nice. To try and get their conditioning level up even a fraction of where they are now, so that coming January 11th, we're not working out for the first time or doing any type of conditioning for the first time.
Well, I just totally felt my stress level went up for you. Like, I'm like, I got to get my odd front zone, my even front zone, my press break, my inbounds. And I'm like, oh my God, and he has to condition them. Like, and now you got pushed back even more, like the time frame. I just started to get some heart palpitations for you, Coach.
So, Coach, hopefully the season starts, and, everyone's hoping it is. Just, football went through. So say now the season starts. Give us a little preview of your 2020, I'm going to call it 2020, 2021 season. Returning players, newcomers, just what you're expecting from the team.
So we did have 3 girls graduate. One who was a starter almost every game, and 2 that bounced back and forth between a starter and coming off the bench, first girl off the bench. So losing them is, it's going to hurt us. Not too much, but in this situation, unfortunately, it is. And the reason why I say that is because now confirmed of what I have coming back from next year, I have 4 girls with varsity experience coming back where I should have had about 7. I lost about 4 or 5 girls because of COVID. They're going to take the season off and make sure their families stay safe and everything, which we obviously totally understand. Mm-hmm. And if they happen to change their mind, we welcome them with open arms, and we'll definitely see them next year. They are young; they're only freshmen, sophomores, so we'll see them next year. But of the 4 girls returning, 4 of them do have significant varsity experience. They've been starters before, and we have 1 girl who is probably one of the best girls I've got to coach so far in my 6 years that I've been part of the program, 8 years with my volunteer years as well. Her name is Destiny Indio. She's actually going to be a junior. Her freshman and sophomore year, she was a first team All-League, second team All-League recipient. Right now, she's got a total of over 400 points, nearing 600 rebounds. She's got 123 blocks in her 2 years. So she should be, a vital contributor to everything that we got going on. And usually we like to work, especially this year, the offense around her and work her inside. She's actually our center. The other 3 girls that we have are guards. We have one senior. She's going to be our point guard. Her name's Keshmala Arif. She's got really good ball handling skills, and she plays great defense. Her biggest issue each and every year is her conditioning level and stuff, which we hope to fix that for her senior year and finish off on a great note. And then we have 2 girls, Jana Sapway and Isabel Salas, who are 2 juniors who are probably my best defenders and have been my best defenders for the last couple of years. I usually put them on their best ball handler, and they do a pretty good job with shutting them down. Isabel Salas, we're hoping that she's a threat for us outside, and Jana handles the ball for us at the top a little bit too, because she contributes the ball pretty good.
Okay.
And then a couple of the girls that we have that hopefully will be in the mix, depending on what we see in preseason. We have Shania Mercado. She's going to be a girl that's returning after taking a year off. She brings a football mentality. She's a tough girl. She was a wrestler years ago in the rec program and stuff. So she brings a different type of toughness to the court, which is awesome to see. We have Jasjeevan Kaur. We had her older sister, actually. Her name was Suki Kaur, and I had her during my first 2 years of volunteering. Probably one of the best 3-point shooters that I've seen, in a girls program. She was tremendous for us. Then we have a girl transferring back from St. Mary's. Her name's Sky Saunders. We're excited to have her. We were upset to see her leave her freshman year, but we're excited to see her back. Then we have 2 younger girls, Emily Hanna and Daylin Gonzalez, that hopefully can contribute for us, come off the bench and get some minutes to get some girls some rest. But that's kind of what we're looking at as far as girls to contribute on the varsity level. And, hopefully we get some newcomers that are surprises that can hopefully help us out this year too.
Very nice. You kind of touched upon this a little bit as you were talking about your roster. But what type of team do you envision being this year? Like defensive pressure, more offensive firepower, a combination of the two? What are you kind of hoping to see from your kids?
Well, typically my philosophy, what I love to do is I like to full court press you. I like to put pressure on you because for me, watching girls games, watching boys games, coaching both of them in the past, coaching girls currently and everything, getting to see how girls react to pressure and guys react to pressure and stuff. I feel, and it happens to us every year, because we kind of get that jitterbug going when we see pressure in our face, and we kind of takes a little bit to get used to in the game and stuff, and then we got to accommodate to it, and then we start getting our game going. So putting pressure from the first whistle is usually what I like to do. Defensively, and I like to play man-to-man. I hate to sit back in a zone. The only time I'll really sit back in a zone is if we're really getting beat up inside, which the last couple of years we haven't had that because we had Indio inside. She's really a great defensive presence for us. The only thing now this year with losing those girls to COVID now and not having the depth that I thought I was going to have, everything's going to depend on what those first couple weeks of practices show me. Mm-hmm. So if we have the girls that can come out and we can condition really well and we can run and we can really pressure and we can get those subs in and make sure we have some depth coming off the bench, then that's something I'm looking forward to doing. But unfortunately, if we don't, then we're going to have to kind of play it a little bit more safe and hopefully limit what the other teams can do depending on what their strength is and what we do as far as scouting.
Okay, coach. Again, you said you also coach football. You've been a head coach, assistant coach, and you've been obviously. And we said it again. You've been in a great Lodi football program. But who are some coaches that have influenced you and that helped you either want to become a coach and not just want, but like maybe even use some of like the philosophies of people who've influenced you?
Well, one of my favorite coaches of all time is actually old school Garfield guy. You know him, Coach Donald Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up with him, he was like a second father to me and stuff, and I was best friends with his son. So Coach Donald had major impact on what I did athletically and how I did it and why I did it and stuff like that. So I'd say he's probably the first person that had that impact on me as far as coaching. And going through the years, I mean, I've had numerous coaches. I'll never forget you. You brought a different intensity to the game, whether
Thank
it was
you.
basketball, baseball. So I definitely remember those times. Those were some great times, fun times.
Awesome times.
But I would say one of the coaches that probably helped me the most, especially because transferring to Lodi and it being a new place and stuff, and not knowing many people, and then working into the quarterback position my senior year. I was a receiver there. Junior year, they already were established at the quarterback position. I'd say is Pat Ambrosio. If you're involved in North Jersey sports and stuff, you've known him in the past. He's coached baseball at Lodi. He's coached football. He was actually my quarterback coach there, and he's probably helped me, I'd say, on and off the field. It was never just about the X's and O's with him. It was never just about preparing for the defense we were going to be going up against. It was a lot of that, but it was also things that he talked about off the field, whether it was family, things that were going on in everyday life, in my life, and whatever kind of words of wisdom he was able to give me. He always made sure that he filled my head with some stuff that were positive things to always carry myself with and look back on. So I'd say Coach Ambrosio was probably the biggest impact for me as far as coaching.
Okay. And talking about coaches, if you could just talk about your staff right now, your assistants under you with the Lodi girls basketball.
Sure. So I know how important it is to have a great staff behind you at all times when you're a head coach. And the reason why I know that is because I've been an assistant coach before, and now being a head coach and everything, I understand, who has to do what and what you're going to need and the help you're going to need. And the two guys I got, Mike Pasqualone, he's actually our assistant coach at the high school. He's our head JV coach. And then I have Kevin Mantell. He's the head coach of our middle school program, but he's also involved at the high school as much as possible. These two guys, I can't say enough about them. They are awesome. They do anything that I need them to do. They know the game really well. They're actually football coaches at Lodi High School too. One's a teacher and one's an aide in the high school, so they're involved within the school as well. So that makes things so much easier. But what they do for me and the trust I have for them makes things so much easier for me as a head coach, because I have the philosophy of you're only as good as your coaching staff and your assistant coaches. Because if I don't have somebody behind me that I can trust, that I know that
Totally agree.
Yeah, and I know that they know exactly what I'm thinking, and I know what they're thinking, I have no problem, turning around to them in the heat of the moment in a game and asking them what they think and what their opinion is. Most of the time, I turn to these guys, and I get out of bounds plays from them. I get subs from them. I tell them to give me somebody, because that's one thing that I don't have to worry about, and I can always rely on them. And they've done a tremendous job. And it's not only during the season too. Anything I ask of them in the off season, they tell me, when you need me, I'll show up. No problem. They showed up to every, all summer league, all summer practices and stuff. So they've been a great help. And, I wouldn't be in the position I am without them. So I'm very thankful to have them on staff.
Okay.
Nice. Coach, your season is set to begin in about 2 weeks, and I'm sure both you and your players are chomping at the bit to get started. Let's pretend you have them as a captive audience right now. What do you want to say to them? Oh, did he freeze on us?
Oh, there he is.
Okay. Coach, were you able to hear that?
I think I got you there.
Okay.
You want me to repeat that, or you got it?
Sure, please repeat it.
Sure. I said your season's set to begin in about 2 weeks, and I'm sure both you and your players are chomping at the bit to get started. Let's pretend you have them as a captive audience right now. What do you want to say to them?
So funny thing is we actually, I actually have a Google Classroom with them, and one thing that I always try and do is make sure that I give them constant communication as much as I possibly can, and that's things as far as it could be some type of phrase that I see on the internet, or it could be maybe a workout that I'm posting. We've actually just started using a new app this year because of everything that's going on, to kind of get them going with drills and stuff like that. And if they have the time to do it with everything going on, I try my best to make sure that they're trying to stay as active as possible. But directly to them, if they were my audience now, I'd say, girls, with the predicament that we're in and with how quickly this season's going to be creeping up on us, it is so important that you get out there now and you do as much work as you possibly can, so that we're not starting from square one right when we start on January 11th. If you can get out there, if you could start dribbling a basketball, shooting a basketball, get together with a partner and maybe go and shoot some hoops on a day where we got a little bit of sunshine, go do it, because whatever you can do now only helps us. Because of the limited time and the limited games that we have, that's only going to help us hopefully have a successful season and jumpstart us and catapult us into next season, where we can hopefully get things back into the swing of things. And if you really want to have the success that everybody wants to have, because nobody joins sports just to join them and have fun. Everybody always wants to win. And if you want to win, unfortunately, it takes a lot more than just showing up. So we really have to make sure we put in the work. You really have to make sure you dig down deep and show up for each other every day and work your butts off. And I promise you, if you can do all those things, if you can do what I ask, I can guarantee you we're going to have fun and we're going to have some success.
Okay.
Nice.
Tell them about the fun segment. We got one more fun segment for you, Coach. This is where it gets good.
We call this rapid fire. These are meant to be. I always preface it. These are meant to be like the fun questions, but sometimes I feel like we get
you get put on the spot.
Hard-hitting ones, exactly. So,
like I'm putting you right on the spot with the first one. You said you grew up in Garfield. You went to Lodi, so obviously you're Garfield, Lodi, borderline. You know both. You know a lot about both of those towns. But most important question. Out of Garfield and Lodi, you can combine them. What are the 3 best pizza places there?
Garfield and Lodi?
Yeah, Garfield and Lodi. Just 3 out of both of them. There could be 3 from Garfield, 3 from Lodi, whatever you want. But the 3 best.
Okay. I got to go with Santoni's, Lodi Pizza, Pizza Mania.
Okay. Ooh, no roses.
No roses.
It's funny. The last time I'm not going to lie. The last time I was probably at Rose's Pizza might have been with you on one of your teams.
Oh my God. Are you serious? That long?
I'm not lying to you.
Oh.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, Kurt's a pizza guy.
I am.
I'm a coffee drinker, so mine's Dunkin' or Starbucks. Which one do you prefer, Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks?
Believe it or not, I've never had a cup of coffee in my entire life.
Wow.
Good
See
for
that?
you.
See that? Taught somebody something. Me, I'm not a coffee guy either.
That's it. Can't do it.
All right. Biggest win ever at Lodi. Could be as a player or a coach.
Come on, that one. You kidding? That one's that's a gimme right there.
I know. All right. So as a coach,
I'll
give you a coach.
All right. You know what? I will say this. As a coach.
Yeah.
As a coach, it has to be, especially with girls basketball, it has to be my first year. We went to the playoffs, and we beat North 13th Street Tech in the first round, and that was our first playoff win in over 20 years since Billy Massapus was the coach.
Okay.
And you're tough.
And I'd say, as a player,
yeah,
it's between 2 games. So obviously the state championship game, without a doubt. But the other game was the first round playoff game against Weequahic, where we went to Newark, and it was probably the toughest fought game I have ever played in my entire life. and we ended up winning the game 14-9. But that was probably our toughest opponent that year. And that game is the reason why we were able to breeze right through the next 2 rounds.
I always follow up the toughest win question with your biggest win with the toughest loss.
As a coach?
Either one.
Yeah.
Both, one of each, if you'd like.
All right. So as a coach with girls basketball, one year we got to play Garfield in the first round of the playoffs. Now they were a pretty good team that year, and we were decent that year as well. And we ended up losing 2 close games in that season to them. And we really thought, that rule where you don't get beat 3 times in one season. Unfortunately, we had our worst of the 3 games and didn't do so well, and we lost that first round of the playoffs against Garfield. That was tough.
Okay. All right.
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, player.
And as a player, definitely going back to football. Last game of the regular season, we're playing Glen Rock. We're up 28-0 at half, and we end up losing 52-35. That one haunts me every day.
Oh.
All right. Talking about football again. I'm going to talk about your senior year. You're a quarterback. Somebody who never saw you play football. Give me a college or an NFL quarterback that kind of resembled your style. Tough one, right?
It is, because you know what it was? I didn't have to be much of a runner because of the line I had. When I tell you I had a phenomenal line, I barely got touched. My jersey was usually the cleanest one on the field, and I played defense. So I would say, as like sitting back and maybe having to take off a time or two, I would say, only because he's lefty, and years ago I watched him play and I liked the way he played, was actually Matt Leinart.
Okay, Matt Leinart. There you go, because of the lefty. And now, how about the same style as a coach?
Ooh. Same style as a coach.
Well, let's just get this out. We're not going to say Bobby Knight, right?
Absolutely. I would have been fired a long time ago.
I don't think we'd be having this conversation.
By the way, a couple of comments. Jimmy Eiserman saying, "What's up, buddy?" And Coach Breslin saying, Lodi football went to both state championship games when they played Lenape Valley 2 years in a row. That's when I was in high school. They lost one and won one, 92, 93. But come on, give me somebody, Joe. Give me somebody that.
All right. I would say in basketball, I'm a little bit more intense than I am in football. Football, I'm a little bit more calm. So I would say in basketball, I would say because he's involved in a lot and he's vocal almost every time down the court, I like watching Calipari play, coach.
Okay.
Because he's so vocal all the time, and especially with girls basketball, I got to be as vocal as I can and kind of give them as much as I can each possession. So I'd say that, because he's usually involved almost every time down court.
Nice. Mine's a little bit easier, Coach, hopefully, right? Fill in the blank. Blank wins championships.
Defense is typical.
Are you going with defense?
You know what? I'm not going to go with defense.
All right. Okay.
And the only reason why I'm going to go a little bit more in depth. I'm going to go with heart. And the reason why I say heart is because if you got heart, everything else should fall in place.
Nice.
Okay.
I like it.
And my last one, it's a 2-parter, but best Christmas gift you ever got?
Oh, man.
He's got some tough ones tonight.
Yeah.
Well, my wife's watching, and so I got to make sure I pick a good one.
It better be something that she got you.
Exactly. I got to make sure I pick something she got me. Oh, man.
Or you ain't getting nothing this year.
Oh, man. Best Christmas gift I've ever gotten. Oh, man. You're gonna get me in trouble here. Memory.
I'll help you.
Just say something from your wife.
She's the best gift every day.
That's it.
There you go. I'll tell you what. Anything she gets me is the best gift.
There you
ever.
go. All right, let's
Keep
get
it at
to
that.
then. Let's get to this. And then, what do you want for this year? Just something like, we know you're not a greedy person, but if there's something somebody still hasn't gotten you that they can get you, What is it?
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, you can ask anybody. I usually give the same answer. I don't need anything. If I were to pick something, I'd say I'd tell the person get something for my son.
Oh, very nice.
There you go.
Very nice. And our last rapid fire question for you, Coach. At practice, is there a certain drill that you run that you always love to hop in on?
Oh, absolutely. We call it 11 man.
That's
So-
mine! I love it. The continuous 3v2.
Yep. Yep. Every coach jumps in on it, and every coach competes
I
because
was going to say,
we
it's
try
so
and-
competitive. Yeah. I got
We
way too
try to-
excited about
There
that.
you
I'm
go. You
sorry.
got fired up.
Yep.
You got fired up.
We try to see who can have the most consecutive times up and down the court, and usually the coaches jump right in and demolish whatever record the girls got going at that time. So we jump right in with them.
Oh, that's
with
good.
them.
That's good.
Joe, thank you. I just got to say one thing. I'm so lucky I met her like recently because I've already met her when we were coaching. I don't know, man. She would probably think I'm nuts. Like some of the days we had back in the Giordano days and the rec center days and the football
Absolutely.
days. But no, but seriously, it was awesome for you to come on.
Yes, thank you so
Obviously,
much.
it's actually thinking about this. That team now, 2 head coaches.
Awesome.
Pete
Very nice.
and Joe.
Oh, Pete
Two-
was on that team?
Pete was on that team too.
Very
So 2 head
nice.
high school coaches.
That's great.
That's
really nice.
But Merry Christmas to you, your family. And obviously, we want to get together, later on during the year,
Season,
start covering you
absolutely.
guys more and doing that. But we want to appreciate you for coming on.
Kurt, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me. It's an honor, especially having you as a coach back when I was a kid, for you to think about me. I want to wish you guys nothing but the best. Please stay safe, stay healthy. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you. I look forward to talking to you guys further into the season.
Absolutely.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you,
Same
Coach.
to you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye-bye.
Very nice.
Yep,
That was great.
absolutely.
Wishing them a lot of luck this
And
season.
wishing them a lot of luck. And again, something we'll cover. And just thinking about that now, like when you think back, like long time ago, coaching in Little League, but now 2 kids from that
a
team,
team.
Having one is a 9-year-old, one is a 10,
Yeah,
and
that's
those guys
great.
are head football,
That's
head
nice.
high school
Varsity
coaches.
coaches, yeah.
So
We have our next guest in the waiting room ready to come in. Should
Let's
I bring
bring her in, yeah.
Coach
Let's bring her in.
Ottavinia. I'm going to bring her in here. See if she loads in. Hi, Coach. How are you? Oh, you're muted.
Whoops.
How
Hi.
are you? Hi, Coach Ottavinia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Coach Ottavinia. It's so
You know,
formal.
I refer to everybody as Coach. It's so funny. It's so weird to refer to you that way. But allow me to introduce you to our audience, please. This is where I get to brag about you for a moment. Coach Amy Ottavinia comes to us with a wealth of coaching, playing, and training experience. I'm sure I'm going to miss some of your accolades and experience here. A former varsity field hockey coach at Morris Knowles High School, assisted me as a lacrosse assistant at Montville Township High School. Is a former Division I All-American athlete, field hockey at the University of Richmond, a 3-sport athlete at Mount Olive High School, where I believe you're in the Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken, and currently a certified CrossFit trainer. I could go through the list of things: CrossFit level 1, 2, 3, Olympic lifting, gymnastics, self-defense, aerobics. Every
She does it
certification
all,
under the
Jen. She
sun.
does it all.
She does. So, and so welcome and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining. By the way, Richmond basketball got beat today. I'm not sure if you saw that, but they got upset
No,
today.
I did not.
They
No.
did. They got upset today. I saw it. Yep.
Oh, what a bummer.
Bear
Yeah,
of
just
bad
throwing it
news.
out.
Way
But,
to bring the level down.
Yeah, we'll bring it down. Hey, but they beat you. But they beat Kentucky this year. So, but yeah, they got upset. They just throwing it out there. But my first question: how did coaching on the high school level? How does that help you now training like high school athletes?
I think you get to know, as a high school teacher as well, you get to know some of what the kids go through a little bit because you had close relationships with your team. And so I can kind of get a sense for when I train, like I train the Mount Olive boys baseball team. We do like an 8-week training session in January and February. And the great thing is I can kind of get a read on, through their body language, how they're feeling, what's going on in their lives. And I think that just helps me relate to them a little bit, having previously coached as well, because they know I'm a coach too.
So I have had the luxury of not only playing with you, but against you, coaching with you and against you, and I just know you as a person, and I've seen firsthand your passion for your sports, for your coaching, and for your training, but not only for yourself, but for others as well. So I wanted you to tell us, because I think that's one of your biggest strengths and assets, because I want you to tell us how you instill that same passion into the athletes that you train.
I usually make them throw up every workout.
That's passion.
Well, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to ask her my second question if she's going to answer that.
No, I'm totally kidding. There have been a few, but no. I feel like passion is one of those things that's really hard to bring out in a person. And I don't know if I ever can. I can give them the tools and just try to motivate them a little bit. But like motivation, I say it's got to be intrinsic. I can give you the tools, and maybe the motivation comes after what we've done. I always find that the kids maybe aren't on the spot like super stoked, but over time they see results. So you try to preach about delayed gratification and, you know, working hard in that moment, but to bring about the passion is really tough.
I know you truly do, just so you know, and I know it's hard to, you know, see this in yourself, but you do truly inspire everybody that you work with, from the high school athletes to the adults. It's evident in everything that you do, so don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, by the way, both of you guys, Tara Lynn is giving a hey Jen and a hey Amy.
Hey,
so
Tara.
Tara Lynn is saying hello. So now I guess I'm afraid to ask this question because
Now I'm excited for the question.
I'm not even, listen to me. I go off script a lot. I'm not going off script. I'm going to read it word for word. If there are any athletes right now out there listening, what is your training advice to them, and what can they expect if they come to train with you? Besides throwing up all the time.
Which does not happen, I swear.
Hey, you said it, not me.
My training advice and what to expect if they come to me, I'll go with the second half first. If they come to me, you know, I expect them to be focused and to be coachable and willing to learn. That's what I expect. I expect somebody to know that, you know, my time is valuable and I'm passionate. I am there to help them get better, you know, and I will put everything I have into that athlete, but they have to be willing to work.
Okay.
That's the thing. It's work. It's hard work, you know, and I just think that mentally that helps them tremendously. That if you can work hard, then you can get through most anything. Like when we do something like burpees, I'm like, you can get through anything in life. If you don't have to do burpees, it's pretty good. So if you can do that in your training, then mentally you're better prepared for something else. And for anybody that wants to start training, I would say have a purpose. Know your purpose, know your goal. Because at different times of the year, depending on what sports you play, your training might be different. For example, if you're, like I said, I train the baseball team 8 weeks before their season. We're not lifting for strength in those 8 weeks. We're getting them ready to sustain a season so they don't get injured. Versus if we were 6 months out from their season, we might be looking to gain strength. So I think anybody looking to start any type of training, just know your purpose, why you're training, and, you know, there should be a goal involved. If you need to talk to somebody to help you set that goal, it's great. Like, I think, I hate to say this is one of the worst things anyone can do, but like, you know, training for field hockey, Jen, we were coaches, right? And people would be like, well, I worked out all summer. I ran a mile like every other day. And like running a flat mile in 10 minutes isn't making you more fit.
Yep.
It's making you better at long, slow distance, which is the total opposite of our sport in field hockey. But you need someone to really steer you in the right direction, have a purpose, have a goal, you know, and know your time frame.
Okay, Tara Lynn's also saying best two coaches I know.
Aww.
And our guy, Kenny Kirkpatrick, dedication here, saying a quick hello and Merry Christmas to all of you. He's driving home from Christmas shopping from Target, but he got us on,
thanks,
and he's
Mr.
checking in. So
Kirkpatrick.
thank you, Mr.
Number one
Kirkpatrick.
fan. Very nice. Well, you kind of segued naturally into my next question, because I kind of think back to some of the drills, like let's say when we were in high school and even college, you know, some of those things are still relevant today, but some of them I feel like we kind of look back on and like, ooh, you know, maybe like that wasn't the best for like our fitness, let's say, right? So what are some exercises that that have like stood the test of time, and maybe even some that you look back and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore?
Yeah. the long, slow distance, more than one day a week. Like if you're just going for a jog, like that's great. But if you're in a sport that requires sprinting or explosiveness, it's almost taken away your gains. I think that lifting and getting strong is paramount. The stronger you are, the better. I'm not talking like, and when I say strong, I don't mean like the big meathead with the big chest that can't move, okay? I'm talking squats, compound movements, deadlifts. I think working on the posterior chain, which is, the back part of the body, the glutes, the hamstrings, the lower back, those are your power muscles. Those are your go muscles. And I think that, lifting weights is underrated with good form. Good form. Anybody can squat, but if your squat isn't looking great and your knees are hurting, then we need to look at your form and see where the problem is. But I think lifting and getting strong in your posterior chain is so huge. I see it in every sport and every athlete I work with. It's usually a neglected piece.
Well, what's interesting, this is off script for me, is that I feel like as female athletes, especially going back to when we were competing, that maybe wasn't such a focus. And I know that a lot of knee injuries like ACLs and stuff, I feel like those muscles were built up, in myself specifically, I can even say, could have been a lot of injury prevention,
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, I cringe when I'm in the high school weight room and I see a kid like squat with their knees almost touching. I'm like, no! Yeah. I run over like they're on fire. I'm like, stop!
Amy, can you explain the satisfaction of like seeing your trainees reach their goals under your tutelage?
Oh my gosh, Kurt, I love that question. I love you.
Amy, we do homework, Amy. Again, listen, I'm going to be honest. It's not pretty doing the homework. We're fighting. We're doing it for an hour, 58 minutes of it's probably an argument and fight, but we get some good questions out of this.
I'm pretty sure I told Amy that yesterday.
Yeah, it's true. It's we're not lying. It's true.
I wish I was a fly on the wall for that. Oh my gosh.
I'm going to be honest. The ratings would be off. We'd probably get our own show, like live on cable. It would be like that.
A reality series, yeah.
He said, she said.
Yeah.
Great. I love it. When they reach a goal or like they have success, it's amazing. I go up and watch the high school baseball team play a lot. And, anytime any one of them is up to bat, I mean, the team as a whole, it's like I share the victory, like with them. Like I feel it, Interesting enough, I trained the high school quarterback, Gavin Lockwood. I don't know if you know that name. He's the Mount Olive High School quarterback, and he plays baseball. And so we did some training in the off season and last year. And when I told him I was going to his high school game, he was like, I'm so excited. Like, and that was even cool for me to know that he was even excited that someone was going to be there to watch, So it's just, I like to make them happy. And that is just so cool. It just has meaning and purpose. And we all need value in our lives. And I think that that's where the good feeling comes from, adding value.
The three of us here are all former student athletes, all former coaches, meaning sports coaches. But exercise isn't always about competition. And I know that you obviously work with people of all different ages. As a high school phys ed teacher as well, you're trying to instill in your students just like a healthier lifestyle, right? So what would be like your advice to someone who's just looking to take that first step towards that healthier lifestyle?
So 3 steps. I mean, one step is really 3, I'm going to say, because I do preach this a lot in my phys ed classes. So I'm going to say sleep, nutrition, and movement. Those 3 things, because without those 3, it's going to be very hard to get anywhere in each of the other. Meaning if your sleep is awful and your nutrition is awful, your working out and movement is not going to feel good. All right. And you can't outwork a bad diet. You can't outwork 2 hours of sleep. It does, it doesn't work like that as a whole. Maybe on, a general occasion, or when you're 16 years old, you can do that twice a week. But I see them suffer as well when they're 16 years old. So that's sleep, nutrition, and movement. General movement. We need to move more. I grew up snow plowing with my father in the backyard. I mean, I was moving all the time. And it set me up for a lifetime of fitness and lifting because I was naturally strong from helping my father lift logs in the backyard.
I got a question, not to cut you off, but Are you worried again, like in your field, in your profession, like are you worried that like the way times have changed, you know, whether it's the PlayStations and the computers and the iPads, that kids, like you're saying, as when you were younger, you did that with your father. Is it like, do you think like kids are not doing that anymore?
Some are not, some are. I think the separation's getting greater. Like a lot of kids I talk to are doing those things. And there's more opportunities for kids to play more travel and sports, and they're so busy. And that's stuff that maybe I didn't have when I was young, you know? But I think that the kids that aren't moving, it's like they're not moving. They're always playing a video game.
Right.
You know, non-athletes a lot of the time. And so I think that is kind of tough. You ever hear the term like, oh, the strong farm kid? Well, strong farm kids used to be from anywhere, and now it's like that's very few and far between. Everyone's got a landscaper, or
That's true.
Like
Yeah.
I've even heard high school kids be like, I don't shovel snow. That's my dad's job, and I'm like, I'm like,
Right. It wasn't. That's not reality when I grew up, right? Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care if it's cleaning the bathroom or shoveling snow. You should be able to do it all, man or female. So, that I think it is becoming a little bit of a problem though, Kurt. I do. The lack of movement, the lack of walking places, the lack of riding bikes. It's still out there, it is. But to the extent that it was when we were kids,
Right.
I don't think it's.
All right, Amy, our next segment is called Rapid Fire. We have some quick questions for you. Oh, you're ready to go. I love it.
I'm ready to go.
You are the perfect rapid fire candidate. Yep, you're going to be good
Oh my
with
God.
that.
It's been a long day. I just changed a poopy diaper and gave my daughter a bath.
There you go.
So
All right.
Kurt is up first.
My
Go ahead.
first one. Best Christmas song ever.
Oh, Mariah Carey. All I Want for Christmas Is You.
I knew it.
I'm with you.
Followed closely by Wham! Last Christmas. I'm a huge Wham! fan.
Okay.
I want to put it out there.
I'm gonna give you one. All right. I'm gonna give you one, and when we get done, I want you to do a little homework. Go on YouTube.
Okay.
Another Rock and Roll Christmas.
That's the name of the song? I have to
Another Rock and Roll Christmas, and then I want you to text Jen and tell me. I heard this in a mall about, my God, 10 years shopping one day, and I'm like, I have to find
Who
it.
sings it?
I want to say it's Gary Glitter.
That.
Is it going to bring me to Rick Astley's song?
Listen to me.
Who's like the
I'm
con?
just gonna say this: you will have that song downloaded on your phone by the end of the night.
Aim, all you have to do is text me a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
That's
I'll
it,
I'll
up
know
or
what
down.
You mean.
Another Rock and Roll Christmas. I want to say it's Gary Glitter. I could be wrong, but it's another Rock and Roll Christmas.
I was willing
Okay.
to be with you, but until you said Gary Glitter, now I'm on the fence.
I'll look it up while you ask
Okay.
her next question.
All right, Amy, it's cheat day. What is your go-to meal, snack, or cheat?
Oh, it's probably going to be pizza followed by something with like peanut butter and chocolate.
Nice.
It is Gary Glitter. Tara Lynn said Gary
Sounds
Glitter,
like
and
a
she's
poor name.
crying. So.
3 crying.
All right, so make
emojis.
sure, I'm telling you, that's your homework. Find that one out. All right, number 2. What exercise do you still do better today than any of your athletes that you train?
Deadlifts or cleans.
I was gonna say all of them, or handstands for you. Not
Or
for-
handstands or pull-ups or I don't know, muscle ups.
Is it bad that I'm answering for Amy?
No,
I'm predicting all
But
of
our
your
guy,
answers.
but our guy, Mr. Sickinger, who will be on shortly, is chiming in, and he's going wham.
All right, we'll have to ask
We'll
him.
have to ask him that.
That's good. That's good. All right, Amy. What exercise do you love to use in a workout, but your athletes absolutely despise?
Ooh. There's an evil movement called the Devil's Press.
That sounds evil.
I wouldn't do it just by the name.
Yeah, and it requires doing like a burpee, and then you have to like bring the dumbbell up over your head in one movement. It's just really taxing. Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna go with the Devil's Press or just a burpee.
I had a feeling there was gonna be a burpee in there somewhere.
Name a professional athlete you wish you could train. Or
Ooh.
train with.
Oh wow! I mean, professional athletes. If we're talking like CrossFitters, I have my goals, but I'll try to go with like the more conventional athletes. It's like so hard to think. Oh, Tom Brady.
Oh.
I want to train with Tom Brady. I read his book. Very good. I would like to train with Tom to learn from him, But there's other people I'd rather train with though, just for the sheer fact of like pushing. Like I want to know like if I have the will and like who could gut it out longer. You know,
Amy, I despise Tom Brady because I hate him as a diehard Bronco fan. I mean, I got pictures of the wall, bye Brady. But the point is, I actually said to Jen one time, for Christmas, can you buy me the book? Like, I want to read it a little. And I said, maybe I'm going to start eating like him. I looked at what he ate. Listen, you know, as picky as I was, gone. No, what was it? Avocado, gone, done.
Yeah, so
that didn't work out.
the moral of the story is he did get the book, but has done nothing
Yeah,
with
it's down there, actually.
It's right behind us on the bookshelf. All right, Amy, we've tested your knowledge on all things personal training. My last question for you is going to test your knowledge in a little bit of parts of speech. You are a Mad Libs connoisseur, so we're going to do a real quick Mad Libs right now, all right? All right. All right, give me, you're on the spot. Give me an adjective.
green,
Season.
fall,
Article of clothing.
bra,
A plural noun.
razors,
A verb.
squatting,
Another plural noun.
glasses,
A food.
ooh, avocado,
And a snack food.
ooh, those crappy Oreo 100-calorie packs.
All right, and give me 2 sports.
2 sports, curling and bobsledding.
All right, because our topic is Go Team. Nothing beats a game of curling on a green fall day. I love it. Fans dress their team's bra and wave razors to show their support. Before the games, players will squat with fans and autograph glasses for them. It's a tradition to eat an avocado or Oreo 100-calorie packs at bobsledding games. And there you have it. That was the perfect ending
That's
to an
it.
interview with Amy Ottavinia.
By the way, Tara,
We could have laughed harder at that, Jen, because it is wicked funny. We could go back and crack up over that.
Tara Lynn saying, "Oh my God, Mad Libs, that one Valentine's Day night." And then she's saying, "Just saying, so many cans in Jen's garage, so not a good night before fitness."
Oh my God, I love it, Tara.
And Coach Breslin wants me to send him the Tom Brady book.
Nice, very
So,
nice. Will do.
There we go.
Coach Ottavinia, so nice to have you on the show. Thank you for joining
thank
us
you.
tonight and for sharing your knowledge.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. Happy holidays. Have a good Christmas.
Have a
To
good
you,
Christmas, Merry
And
Christmas.
to your family as well.
Another rock and roll Christmas, Gary Glitter. Check it out. Oh, by the way, hold on before you leave, Amy. Coach
Yeah.
Lilienthal, Rebecca.
says,
Hey,
"Hey,
Becca."
ladies, Merry Christmas." So
very
thank
nice.
you, Coach, for
Merry
joining
Christmas,
us.
Beck. God, her daughter's a stud, huh? Beck,
Yeah.
your daughter. Wow.
Yep, very good.
I
field
can't get
record.
enough of those videos. It's insane.
Buy
So-
stock, huh? Buy stock?
Yep.
Okay.
She's already got a recruiting video up. Yeah.
All right.
Good
All
night,
right.
Coach. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, Aim.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, another great interview
Yeah,
tonight.
absolutely.
2 great interviews
Yeah.
tonight.
2 good
You know?
ones, for sure. For sure.
We're gonna wait for Mr. By the way, we have one more segment coming. A quick little
Well,
segment.
Mr. Sickinger is in the waiting
Oh,
room.
bring him in.
So, all
Bring
right,
him
just want to
in.
make sure
Yeah.
we're good to go.
Absolutely.
Hello, Coach Sickinger. He's still connecting to audio, it looks like, so he's in, but
God, I love it, Tara.
And Coach Russell
Oh,
wants
he's-
to send his clothes out.
hello, Coach. Can you hear us?
I sure can.
There
All right,
he
welcome,
is.
welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for joining
Sure
us.
can. I was just watching that. That last interview was great. I mean, it hurt just listening to her talk about all those exercises and lifting and stuff like that. Like, it just hurt listening to her. That was great. Great content. I enjoyed it.
Oh, good, I'm glad.
I love hearing people that are passionate about what they're doing, and a fellow PE teacher, which is awesome. And Kurt, that Brady book, just re-gifted, give it to Kenny. You know what? You know what? You probably got through 3 pages, and once he mentioned anything outside of chicken fingers and
Jim.
pizza,
Jim, that was honestly, I was probably better off like reading a Latin book or something. Like when I just started reading that, I just went, close it and let's not get out of there.
The moral of the
Kurt.
story is I should have known better.
John Beelan's getting jealous, saying, "How do I get on this show?" Hey,
You're more than welcome.
you
Absolutely.
gotta. All you gotta do is ask. By the way, Mr. Sickinger,
Yes, sir.
Sickinger,
Coach
obviously on the K&K Sports Show. So this is a little calmer. This show, like you see
Little bit.
everybody nice and calm, right? It's a different
Look to
kind
your
of
left.
show.
That's why it's calm, Kurt.
Yeah.
Oh, because you know what? Like, you said come on and just talk for a couple minutes. I'm like, sure, no problem.
Well,
The hoops will
because
be there.
we got 2 great points. You know what? Do you want to get to the new one first, Jen, or you want to get to the
I say
older
we
one?
revisit the old one and then end maybe
All
with
right.
the new one.
We've
What do you
got a
think?
couple
Yeah.
minutes.
So,
Whatever you got, guys.
So, Coach Sickinger, last week we kind of started talking about, again, both being former high school coaches, at you as well, the topic of the ability for a new coach, not necessarily new first-time coaching, but new to a school, and his or her ability to pick their assistants, and what is your thoughts on that? Before we chime in, we did discuss it last week, and I know we discussed it with you a little bit afterwards off of the air, but you had some
Right.
really great insights if you want to kind of share your thoughts on that topic. Did I explain that well enough?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, you did much better than Kurt could have ever done there, Jen. No, it is true. You know what? I coached baseball for 25 years. I did 10 years of basketball, 10 years of girls volleyball. The last year I was going to help Millburn softball as an assistant coach. I think we had 5 days of practicing before the roof caved in. So one of the things that I could just say from early on coaching is that back in the day, coaches just coached for a long time. Like you had to wait for a guy or a person or somebody just either to die or retire to get a coaching job. They were tough to get early on. People got them and they didn't give them up. Now I see a lot of, unfortunately, unqualified people coaching sports. I do a lot of site managing and, a lot on the freshman level. They're just looking for people in district. A lot of people, when they're going to offer a job, they offer it in district first. Back in the day, you were hired as a teacher. They would look at your resume and say, oh, Jen, played field hockey, basketball, boom, boom, you're hired. But with being hired, Jen, we expect you to coach. Kurt, you played basketball, played football. We expect you to coach, especially in the phys ed area. Now, it's not the same. And we were talking, Jen, about it, especially a sport like yours with field hockey being so specialized, having to find people to fill out your staff. Mm-hmm. Let alone in district, you might even go within, like I know Essex County and where you grew up in West Essex, a lot of people play field hockey, but when you go to other areas of the state, that wasn't played a lot.
Right,
so,
right.
To fill out your staff might be hard. You might have to get a guy like the guy on your right there and say, listen, you're a little bit of an athlete. I'll teach you how to coach a sport or something like that.
Right.
And just hope that he could follow directions well enough and is willing to put in the time to make it better. You know what? At least that's what I've seen through my time. You know what? Are there some good young coaches out there? Absolutely. Are there people like, it was great just seeing the young girl that you had on there now talk about stuff with passion. And it sounds like you two had a great time coaching together. That's what it should be about, putting a great effort towards the kids and everything she's saying. I love when she said, I saw somebody lifting wrong in the gym with their knees buckling together and I cringed. Hey, listen, we've all been through that. We got to walk across the weight room and go, what are you doing? What are you doing? There's a right way to do it, form and function. I don't know if we're getting away from that now, and, getting to your point, having to hire, when you go in as a coach is sometimes in a sport, it's hard. Kurt, you were talking about that. Maybe you come in as a coach and there's a leftover staff there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And are you forced to take these people? Should you be forced to take these people?
Right. That's where we were going with it is like, should you be forced, because again, and again, I was never a head coach, but you were a head coach. And you know what? Your name's on that program. I mean,
sure is.
It's still the school, but you know what? It's who's the head coach. And if you're forced to take, your 2 assistants in baseball or, your defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator is handpicked for you, and now things are going not good, it's not those assistants. It's going to be you. So if you're going to go down, and hopefully you don't go down, but if you're going to go down, shouldn't you go down with your guys, or
your people, your personnel,
your
you know
people.
what? Yeah, that happened to me. And I don't mind saying it on the air. You know what? That at one point during my coaching career, I was forced to take somebody that was not equipped for the job. But once again, was given an option to come down his first year and work to get better, and decline that offer, and then was kind of being forced, and it didn't work out well. And you know what? Saying I like baseball and being a baseball coach are two totally different things. Right. You know what? And you find that out pretty quick, because when I wanted to get where I wanted to get, or I wanted to go from the hunter to the hunted, you know what? There's a lot of work that has to be involved in that. And and if you're not willing to do that, then you know what? Go find something else to do, and we'll find somebody. I was so lucky during my career. I hooked up with Jay Scavala, my good friend, came right out of Montclair State, and he was with me for the whole ride. I had Doug Ogle, Frankie Bufiuco, Bobby Kelly, like guys, Chris Iannello, guys who played with me and for me. And when they came into the system as teachers, they knew what was expected from the winning culture and just kept that rolling right along.
You know what? I'm going to speak from a perspective of even, I've been talking about it as the perspective as like a head coach. Now just as we're talking, I'm thinking like how lucky I was to be hired as an assistant when I graduated from college. It just worked out at my alma mater to coach 3 sports there. And, I didn't have any coaching experience. Was I an athlete there? Yes. But like we've talked about, that doesn't necessarily translate into good coaching, but I was given that opportunity. And I was also fortunate enough to be a young head coach, and I did not feel at that time experienced enough to maybe even pick my own staff. So there's just so many unique situations, to that. So, I think like, my gosh, like what if I was never given that opportunity? I want to be able to, I just feel very fortunate to have been given the opportunities that I was, and I, don't want to take away from someone that there's just so many fine lines. And we've talked about this a little bit, yes, you might inherit a coach, but you might also inherit a good coach, and I just because I'm coming in doesn't mean that I have the right necessarily to wipe that person out and not give that person a chance, or at least a fair shake.
Well, I'll just say this in a couple of comments. Beelan, who I haven't been agreeing with Beelan in a long time, but me and Beelan are right on the money on this one, Jim, because he's saying, if you're hiring me to win at any high school level, I want my own coaching staff. Coach Breslin saying he agreed with you on the previous point. Much harder to get coaches. Demands and parental influence make it harder to keep coaches. And then he's also saying you hit the nail on the head. Winning culture and being part of that and continuing it. Jim, this is what I think though. And again, if I become a head coach and say you two guys have been assistants in a school for 10 years,
right?
I think honestly, I should have like, all right, I sit with you guys, I interview you guys, and I really truly see, hey, wow, like these two people are great. I'm going to love it. But if I really have 2 other guys, like if I have Beelan and I have Kenny, and I'm like, listen, these are my guys. Just like you said, you had Frankie and Scavala, and you just feel comfortable with them. And, like, listen, I don't know her. I don't know you. Like, I'm meeting you because the AD is saying, oh, you're a great coach. I'm taking his word. But is that AD going to be the one when they're calling from my head? Is he going to be saying, oh, I back him? Or is he going to say, like, that's the thing. Like, I want to go down. I want my people. So...
100%. Hey, Kurt, you're 100% right with that. And the thing that I'll go back to what Hoops was talking about too was back in the day, I was, aside from like, I was an assistant varsity coach for 9 years before I took over. Like, I coached American Legion during the summer. Like, there was something to be said back in the day for paying your dues. Because I like goes back to what you said, Jen. I didn't feel ready to take over at any of those things. Like, if when I was doing American Legion during the summer, the person I was doing it with left, and at a young age, I would think it was like 21 or 22. He said, here, the Legion program's yours, I'm gone. And I was just like, wow, I'm like 4 years older than the people I'm coaching, right? And you look at it and go, I'm not ready to steer this ship. But you're absolutely right. And I think there's something for, working on your craft, honing your craft, developing your own style. And then when you find the right people, listen, Kurt, you and I both know there's 2 things you can do. I can play catch with somebody for 5 minutes and tell if they're a baseball player. And I can also sit down and talk to somebody for 5 minutes and figure out where their head is with baseball or sport, especially what I like. You know what? Whether it's an old school thing, you look at Coach Breslin and I've never met the man. We've only talked through the internet, but I can tell we're like kindred spirits because of the way we talk about things, on the air, and the points that we agree or disagree with are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Because it just goes back to that old school mentality that we like. And I don't think old school is bad, Hoops.
I agree.
Now
what?
I got a question. Do you agree or disagree? I'll let you go real quick, and then I'll go to Jim. Beelan's saying it's like the 25 to 30-year-old experienced English or math teacher in school. We can't teach like it's early 80s anymore. You got to adapt to the kids nowadays.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, excuse me, that we can't assume that every teacher that's been teaching for a long time isn't adapting.
But I think what his point is making is if they're forcing you on that, if they're forcing that person on you, on your staff. I agree with what you're saying.
I just feel like I think in a perfect world, we would, of course, any coach going in would love to be
We
able
have
to
a comment
bring their
from,
own
will you give this
staff.
comment to Mr. Sickinger, please?
Oh, absolutely. Coach Sickinger, we have a hello for you. It is coming from Rebecca Lilienthal. Her husband Sven says hi to Coach Sick.
My man.
By the way,
Sven is
Can't
the best.
say that last name. It's just Doc. It's just Doc. That's all.
I got to interrupt you because, Jim, you're wearing a hoodie that kind of looks like a hoodie that Jenny Hoops is asking Santa for.
It is.
It's similar. I don't even know if that's it, but I know
it's
it's very similar.
I asked for a white one, Jim, with the Under Armour in the American flag. I did ask for that.
Oh,
for
I was going to say,
Christmas.
don't look under the tree, Hoops. I went under there and I found this.
Coach Breslin back saying, I agree, but I think if you care about the players, whether it's the 80s or now, you can get a lot out of them.
Yeah, agree.
You know what? And I'll say this to you guys too, and it is funny. Like, people like when I stopped being a head coach in baseball in 2011, I retired because I wanted to see my girls play their high school sports, which I would never not do that again. That was the best decision I ever made. Didn't miss a scrimmage, a game of practice, whatever.
Ironically, Jim, Rebecca, Sven's wife, we had her on last week or 2 weeks ago. She just retired from coaching for the same reason. Sorry, go on.
No, you're right. And you know what? I mean, I know I've met his girls at the Butler games. And once again, for 2 years, I was helping my friend Jeff White at Butler, and I've known Doc from back when we played. Just a great guy, great people. You know what? 100%. But it's funny. You just when I got out of coaching, people said to me, "You could never coach kids today because of the way you are." And I said, "Why?" Because I asked them to show up on time, work hard, be disciplined, and be able to do this, that, or everything else. You know what? Kids are kids. Some kids need that. They need that structure. Because I always looked at it as life building skills.
Yep.
You know what? Your boss wants you to be on time. I mean, we could go down the whole thing. You understand. You guys have done it 100 times over. One of the coolest things that ever happened to me was the transition to assistant coach. When I was up at Butler for 2 years working with my friend Jeff White and Ryan McCleary, I was the pitching coach. It was awesome. You know what? I worked with the pitchers. I did this. I was assistant coach. Now at Milburn, I'm the assistant coach. Sarah Polina's the head coach. I'm the assistant coach. I slide into a different role. I don't have to be that guy anymore. So now it's even cool for me at this, at my age now and at this point in my career that I slide into a different role and have to, some of my former players, coach, how could you do softball? These girls are going to, I said, listen, I'm going to coach them differently. I'm going to, I've never really coached softball, but doing everything I need to do to figure it out. And adapt. That's what we always talk about, adapt. And if some kids want to be coached hard. And Kurt, I think it goes back to another saying, I know there are some towns, maybe the town I live in, that coaches get fired a lot. People go in and they go right into the board office and bypass the AD and the principal. And next thing you know, a coach is fired. Then another coach is fired. Then another coach is fired. You're going to turn people away because then that town gets the reputation that the parents are running the sports instead of, a coach being able to handle it forward. And Hoops, you've seen it. Kurt, you've seen it too. And that's a shame when you get people who are dedicated. I've seen so many young, dedicated coaches, not even make a mistake and just get tossed to the side of the road. You know, it's a bad thing to see, especially in our profession.
It is,
Yep.
and like you said, long ago there was coaches who were there for had longevity. Now the turnover for the young coaches and there's just so much more to deal with that on that end now. It's a lot. Yeah, that's a shame.
Real quick, 2 more comments. Coach Breslin saying about when you were saying about giving up coaching to watch your daughters. Most definitely, Jim did the same and stopped full time for the same reason. And Coach Beelan saying, Coach, we need to set up something with a baseball throwing session at a park, LOL. Coach reminds me of my grandfather at times, man. And I'll just say this. When he's talking about his grandfather, and we were talking about Garfield Little League because we had one of my former players, the Lodi girls basketball coach, Coach Romeo, but his grandfather, Jim, I'm telling you, like, as a coach, I was down that we had work detail, we had everything. It wasn't just show up for coaching. We were down that Garfield Little League field every night. I was probably 20 years old. We were down there every night, working kitchens, whatever, painting fences. I mean, it was nuts. It was probably more work than I do now in my life. But whatever it is,
definitely is.
It is. But I gotta say, like, John's grandfather was down there every night, Jim. I mean, every down there, the guy just loved baseball, loved the Little League, loved John, was down there. I mean, he was like a friend to all of us, you know? So that's a high compliment because I know what he thought of his grandfather. I mean,
Well, I
know a lot of his
appreciate that.
grandfather because, again, I grew up coaching. Like, that was my first coaching run was with, like, Beelan and those guys, and it was great.
I think I'm going to turn into that guy. I'm pretty soon going to be the old guy down at the field that just wanders around and just looks people.
Oh my
Hey,
God,
tell
Jim,
John Beelan too, and I'll mention on the show tomorrow night. For me now, 60 feet is long toss, by the way.
Okay.
I said, you know what? I said, just playing catch is long toss now. You know what? So,
All right, here's my next question because, and real quick, got a couple minutes, and I said it to Jen, but since you came on, I think it's a perfect. I was thinking, and I said, what am I going to ask for a debate topic? And then I said to Jen, you know what? This is it's a little crazy, but it's not. You know, we always watch and we say college sports, high school sports, and we say, all right, how does that work into the high school level? Like, what's different? Like, what do they do a little different? What do they do the same? And I look now, and we're getting into the winter sports. So obviously, it's not starting now. But Coach Romeo was saying before, whether it's wrestling or basketball, you have the holiday tournaments, which in reality, you know, you have your holiday tournaments. When you go to college sports, what do? They have holiday basketball tournaments. So it's like, okay, that aspect's there. What I love now, and we always have Coach Marr and the Becton team, is the NJIC has what's called a quote-unquote conference tournament, which is like these conference college tournaments. You know, you have the SEC, they're doing it where they take division winners out of the 4 divisions, and they have their little playoff, and then they have a conference championship. So I'm thinking and saying, all right, you have your big NCAA tournament, you have your playoffs, you have your high school football playoffs, you have your NFL playoffs. But I'm like, what is one thing that high school doesn't do that those, you know, at a pro level? And I came up to one and I said, you know what would be cool? You thought of you know what would be cool? Like, and is this something that you're a baseball guy, but I've always said, I mean, listen, when I played in high school, we were good all 3 years, but my best team was my senior year, and we got upset early in the state playoff. The other 2 years, you know, 1 year we were 17 and 14, we played for a sectional final. So I was thinking, is there any way, one, is it possible, and two, as a baseball guy, would you like it? Could they come up with something for a state tournament, maybe, I don't know about a best of 7, but could they do a best of 3, a best of 5? Could they do something where now it's, all right, you didn't see my ace, or like you were saying, I'm playing against Doolittle, and listen, we're not hitting that guy, but otherwise you have a better team. Is it something that, one, you would want to do, and is it possible for a baseball or even a softball to come up and say, instead of just a one game takes all, it's a best like they do in baseball?
Right. You know what, Kurt? 100%. Would I love to hop in the DeLorean, hit it, pump it to 88 miles per hour, go back to 2004, and be able to play Shawnee? For those who don't know, Kearney in 2004, we ended up playing in the state finals for the Group 4 down in Toms River, and we were supposed to play on Saturday, and Sean Doolittle, who's pitching for the Washington Nationals right now, was he had pitched on Thursday. So there's no way he could have pitched on Saturday, except for Mother Nature had another plan. It rained Saturday. It rained Sunday.
Oh, no.
It rained Monday. So they made the game Tuesday. He had the 4 days rest. And you know what? As we all know, the game went 10 innings. They ended up beating us 5-3. Doolittle struck out 23 of us. But we also got, I think, 5 hits off him, which was the most he gave up all year. We scored 3 runs, which is the most he gave up all year. And it was a classic battle. Now, my point, if we had a 3-game series and I had to match up my 3 pitchers against his, there's no doubt in my mind.
Right.
And if we play on that Saturday, I got a big ring sitting on my finger right now. But it's just the way it is. Getting to your point, would I've liked to have been, time constraints are the biggest thing come the end of the school year. One of the funnier parts of that, the Saturday we were supposed to play with the rain, the Friday night before was our prom. Our baseball players got up at 11 o'clock and all left the prom and went home.
Yeah.
You know what? Every single one of them got up to a standing ovation, walked out the door, and they all went home. And they decided to do that. And you know what? You get to the end of the year, there's so many commitments. We talk about parochials. Usually they're done in the beginning of June.
Yeah.
Right? So there are things. Would that be great? Yeah. I mean, I think in a perfect world. So instead of this, Jen, we talked about the Tournament of Champions, which I'm not a big fan of because, as we talked about, when in 2003, I was lucky enough to coach with Donnie Cooper in North Arlington. We won the Group 1 state championship in girls volleyball. And we only had 8 girls on the team. 1 got hurt, and we had 8 girls on varsity.
Wow.
They tell us we're in the Tournament of Champions. I'm like, they're dying. We're like, we were beat up.
Yeah.
We were physically beat up, and we were done. And they tell us on the draw, great, on Tuesday, you guys have to play Livingston in the first round. And we're like, we're a Group 1 school playing a Group 4 school.
Yeah.
We went up there. The girls weren't ready to play. We got pasted in 2 straight games. You know what? And we always talk about wanting to walk off hoops or edges as a champion.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly.
You know, then you got to come back and play that one more game.
Yeah.
You know what? I think the Tournament of Champions is real overblown in some sports. I would rather do what Kurt said. You know, get to that end, and if it's a situation like baseball, play 2 out of 3.
Is it possible in your opinion, though, right now?
It would be real hard scheduling wise. You know what? Because given in a non-COVID situation, because you know how tight it is, and you know, certain constraints, like certain things. You know, softball pitcher can pitch every day.
Yes.
Field hockey, right? Hoops, you can go out and run your gig. You know, baseball is a specialty sport where once you pitch and reach a certain level of pitch count, you can't come back.
Yep.
So there are different things that that have to be juggled with that. Be a great idea though, Kurt. That's why you're the smartest guy in the room.
I don't know.
Not
So
that room.
my
Not
3.
that room. In the room with me, you're the smartest
So
guy.
my 3, honestly, real quick, again, would be somehow baseball. I love the idea. I wish all conferences in football did what the NJIC does and have a legit conference championship at the end of their season.
Right.
And the other one would be somehow to incorporate, and I mean, this is hard because you would have to lose games, but maybe we get to the college basketball, like the Big East tournament, maybe you somehow do it like there where you're, instead of just saying, well, I won, Garfield beat Lodi 8 weeks ago, so we're we're the league champ. You play maybe a little conference tournament before you go to the playoffs. That would be a lot, but you could do something maybe in a 3-day spurt. What about you?
Well, like Jim said, a lot of the things are, time constraints. But the one I came up with during the show, it just kind of popped into my head was,
Right.
I actually don't even know if they do this anymore in college basketball, but they used to do like the night that college basketball started, you had Midnight Madness, right? So at midnight, you would, they'd open up the gyms, kids would come and watch the first practice. There'd be like dunks going on, right? So I let you speak. I know. I like
See this, Jim? See this?
Yeah. See
Kurt,
what?
Kurt, you're jumping her right now, Kurt. Classic Kurt Valente. Let her go.
So the what's funny is when I coached basketball in Montville, my first year there, we actually did a Midnight Madness, believe it or not. Yeah, it was
That's
funny.
awesome.
We just got caught on a Facebook thread, all of us who were talking about it, and we were like, what were we thinking?
Yeah, you know what? Youthful enthusiasm,
Yeah.
Hoops. That's what it was. You know what? And it's a great idea. And I bet you the kids who were involved in that will never forget that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and they did. They were so excited for it. Then it did. It was a fun way to start the season and kick it off in a really positive way. So it was fun.
Anything else, Jim? Anything else, Jim, that you could think of that
Well, here's one that I wanted to throw out to you, since this is an all-in on high school sports, and I'm not fighting with Petro and Kenny and Beelan. And this is refreshing, being able to talk.
Yeah.
What do you guys think with the number of two things? If we have time, I know if not, we could do it next week. With the building up of club sports taken away from high school sports is one, and two, with the numbers, are we going to get rid of freshmen and JV and just call them sub-varsity soon? Because I think in a lot of schools, numbers, were really, really dropping where they were trying to scramble. Even big Group 4 schools, they were scrambling. Does it make sense to just make a sub-varsity team of freshmen and sophomores, all right, and just make one level and carry a couple extra kids? Are we hurting the sport? You know what? Should that go school by school? I know
That's a great topic.
No, that is a good
It's
topic.
a great topic.
You know what's interesting, Jim, is I can't remember if it was Amy I was speaking to actually who was on earlier. We had this conversation recently, not even just about club sports killing high school sports, but club and travel teams killing rec programs where where if you're a kid who just wants to play, there's become this dichotomy of I can't play rec because it's not competitive enough, and now we're and I was a club coach for 15 years for going to college recruiting tournaments for lacrosse, and I went on board because I felt like my kids were not getting a fair shake on club teams. It was like, we'll make an A, B, C, D team and just steal your money. I didn't feel like they were getting coached, and I wanted them to get better at their club team, and I wanted it not to cost them an arm and a leg, and it to be fair and actually get coached. And but it also came to a point, if I wanted to compete at the high school level, my kids needed to be playing at that level at the same time. So there was, it's a really tricky question. Yeah,
I'm going to jump my point on that and when I was finished coaching at St. Mary's, which was 2012, and I remember when Coach Sheridan sent me and one of the freshman coaches, and he said, "Can you go to the meeting and set up a schedule for the freshmen?" Jim, it was a nightmare because it was just like you were saying. Because I'm going to be honest, that's what teams were doing. Like St. Mary's, we had a freshman team, but I don't know, in our league, say there was. In the whole division, and those two, say there was 14 teams, 2 of them might have had a freshman team. They all kept saying, "Oh, I got a sub-varsity team. I got a sub-varsity team." So it was like, then your freshman team's coming to run. They're playing juniors in the sub-varsity game and a JV game, and it was like, it was a little crazy. But
Kurt, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, to that point, also, I know things were created when I was coaching in volleyball. I saw the first co-ops. I saw Woodbridge and Beckton, or Woodbridge and Hasbrook Heights, making a girls volleyball team because they didn't have enough. And I saw this small group school start co-oping sports to be able to do that. If you're going to be sub-varsity, I mean, is that going to be the way things are going right now? Because, you look at numbers going down. Is that the move to make now? If your district calls for that, that's another topic. We saw the club sport thing happening. We saw it started in soccer. It went to volleyball. Then within the last 8 to 10 years, baseball and softball. Boom, boom, boom. And like you said, Hoops, there's people who do it for the right reasons. Then there's people who, you know what? I mean, I've seen it myself. I'm doing pitching lessons, and a guy will come up and backhand me a card. Here, if you see anybody good, give me I run the New Jersey Vipers baseball or whatever. Here's a card. Give me. I'm like, what are we doing here? Right. It's not like a meat market, but there's people out there that would do that. And I think it hurts sports. And exactly what Jen says, what about the kid who just wants to play? That kid that's not going to play travel. He's not going to play club. Right. The kid who just wants to play rec. And let's not even get into the lunatic parents that want their kids to play up 4 age groups because they're going to get that Division I scholarship that's not going to be out there.
Right.
Now, Rebecca's saying some rec teams now require the kids to play rec level if they want to play travel.
Oh,
I like that.
Yeah.
You know?
You and I, that's great. Hey, Hoops, you remember back in the day, travel was something special. Now people get in a town.
Oh,
right.
Their town is another town, and people call it travel.
Yeah.
You and I know what travel was back in the day.
Right.
You had to try out to be an elite part of a team. But you know what? It's terrible. And you see with the kids too. Sorry, I'm getting on my soapbox here, but you see it happen with kids now where the parents, are sitting there and they're putting the kid in front of it. You're not playing your rec game this week because there's a travel game.
Right.
And we're going to put
Right.
travel ahead of rec. But if your club team has a game, and then you start jumping, and in the end, the kids who just want to play or try to get better, it's a bad situation.
The other thing with the club teams is now, and again, I can speak specifically to lacrosse. I mean, obviously there's field hockey club teams as well. And again, like I said,
Right.
as a coach, I wanted my kids playing because they are going to play at a higher level, and it is going, especially when you have multiple kids on your team, if they're playing together in the off season and they're, playing at that higher level. I mean, what coach wouldn't want that? But, I want them
Sure.
having a good experience. I want them getting coached. I don't want somebody stealing their money, and I don't want, getting bad coaching, but whatever. But I feel like there's also that oversaturation now on the club level. There's just club teams popping up everywhere, and it's just it's crazy. It's just crazy.
What is your Kurt?
Yes.
What's your certification to be a club sport coach?
Is there one?
I know.
You know what? I guess you have to be good on the computer. You know what?
Yeah.
I get. I'm gonna say, really, what is your certification?
You're right. 100% right. Coach Breslin, a couple of comments saying, I agree. It will continue to impact high school sports and having players choose make it difficult. He's also saying, Jim, that is because they've recruited. Parents want scholarships. I agree, Jim. Here's my thing, and this is going to be a great topic ready for next week. And I'll just start it real quick for a minute. And I know we got to go, but 1 minute. Jim just mentioned the thing about the sub-varsity and all that stuff. And I'm going to say that, and I know me and Jen we started it as a conversation, but we probably got into an argument over it. But I'm going to be honest. I'm really big on a freshman team. I truly am. And I'm going to say it through football. I've coached football on the freshman level. I've coached football on offensive coordinator on the varsity level where I've seen our freshman program. But I'm going to be honest. When we got to the JV part, it was a nightmare. Coach Breslin, listen, that's a different animal because we're talking about, when I was at Group 3 Ramapo, we used to run our offensive set. Okay, ones go, twos go, and they're running the play. At a small school like St. Mary's, honestly, we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be honest. We would have a scrimmage, and God can strike me dead. We're in Blair Academy, all right? Blair Academy. Now we're St. Mary's. Pretty good football program, right? We're in Blair Academy. All right. Twos come in. Now, first off, Blair Academy, they got 5 guys that probably be playing on the Giants. Dion Lewis is playing. Right, PGs. But whatever. So the twos come in. All right? Twos come in. Our quarterback's looking at me. Bring our fullback in. All right, what are we going to run with them? Let's go. It was actually twos. It was more like the kids that would be JV. All right, we're gonna run counter. What? Why are you shaking your head? I don't know counter. Do you guys know counter? No. All right, all right. Let's go. I right, blast right. We don't know that one. No. Now we have our backup quarterback in there going. Am I gonna get killed? No. We're okay. What? You want to run a hitch pass? What do you guys know? Sweep.
What do we know,
Sweep.
right?
So you know what we did, Jim? We had 10 and 10. 10 plays, we ran sweep 10 times. And I'm going to be honest, we got into a Monday, I didn't coach the JV, but we would watch and, we talked to the other guys and they're like, I can't run anything but sweep. They don't, because when do we find time to them and say, you run this? They're not. They're the scout kids that we're getting ready for varsity. The freshman
In a
kids
small school,
are on
yeah.
their own. The freshman kids are running their practice, running their plays, doing their indie period. They're a lot more advanced to do it. That's why I like that. The JV part in the football, I'm going to be honest. It was just like, hope nobody gets hurt. Let's get out of there because, and it's not fair to the kids. They're not practicing that. When they don't see, now you got a defense in a 50 front running blitzes. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it truly is the haves and the have-nots. When it comes to high school sports now, we don't even get into the parochials and the publics, which is perfect for another sport. And the other thing, which is another topic, somehow I'm working my way into this show because I like it. My blood pressure's not getting up. Keeping kids age group appropriate. For years, I argued. Why? You know what? Because once again, hoops, being a high school phys ed, being an elementary school phys ed teacher, I watched Little League, and I watched 9-year-olds compete against 12-year-olds. There's nothing in my school. You wouldn't have a 9-year-old compete against a 12-year-old in a spelling bee. You wouldn't have them do anything else. But let's put them on a field.
Right.
A 12-year-old on the mound facing a 9-year-old.
Right.
And for years, I would go and fight and argue and plead. Listen, let's do 9s and 10s, 11s and 12s. Do it age group. You know what? And it would just fall on deaf
And you
ears.
know what, though, Jim? And I swear to God, this will be the last thing, and then we're done. I promise. But
Gotcha.
coaching Little League All-Stars, because when we did that, it was like, just like you're saying, listen, I can't pitch. I mean, like we're saying, I had the kid, Coach Romeo. He was a great great player for a 9-year-old, but I couldn't pitch him against the 12s. But now, so during the regular season, that kid's not pitching. Now you go, and we would go to the All-Stars. Lyndhurst had a 9 and 10-year-old lead. Heights did. Rutherford. Those kids you're getting a kid, you're teaching them how to pitch in 4 practices in All-Stars because they never pitched during the year. These kids are pitching all year in a 9, 10-year-old league, and it showed. You know?
We could do a whole segment on Little League Baseball.
Right.
We could. Hey, Hoops, who's that shirt? It's the Cardinals. Is that pumped? I can't read. I own my glasses.
No, it's my elementary school, Stevenson School, Cardinals.
Nice. See, only Carney spells Cardinals with a K. We're still trying to.
Last comments for the night. Coach Breslin saying that is also a planning thing with the JV teams, saying it's much harder to do at the Group 1 level. Rebecca saying age appropriate. Yes. And Joe Breslin with the last comment said, Jim, that makes so much sense. My question would be, do you have enough players to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So, but on that
Hey,
note,
listen, after we sign off, I have a quick computer question for both of you. So, you know what? After we sign off, please stay on.
well, you know where you're going. You're at the right spot.
You know, Valente and Valente. Listen, thanks for having me on. This was awesome.
No.
I
Thanks
appreciate.
for joining us, Coach.
No,
we
are you
appreciate
kidding me?
your insight.
No, it's not. It's just we love talking about this stuff. You know what? So we're just doing it with the camera on. It's great. It's great that we have this out there, and your guests are awesome, and they do a great job.
Absolutely.
You do a great job. Hoops, God, bless you, bless you. Putting up with that.
But Hoops,
It's refreshing not to hear Dak Prescott and see anybody flip
yeah,
out. So
it's a different side of me, right? It's a different side. You know.
Thanks again, guys.
No, thank you, Jim.
Yes.
Want to thank Coach Romeo.
Yes, Coach Ottavinia.
Ottavinia.
Yep.
Great show tonight.
Yep.
And we will be back next week. Hope everyone has a nice Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And we will be back
Yep.
one more show for 2020.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, guys. Tracy Ann is saying great show tonight. Merry Christmas to all. You
Merry
too,
Christmas,
Trace.
Tracy. See you in the morning, Tracy.
All right, guys. Have